Hey Shooby-Doodlers, it's B for Badger. This is the second in my Animal ABC series. You're going to need a pencil and a pen and a paintbrush and paints and an eraser. Let's not talk about it. Let's do it. Now, this was requested by Sonia F. and John Walsh and Edward Gribb. And in fact, Badger was the first thing I thought of with B. And I thought, oh no, I've done a Badger. In fact, if you click up here, you can see I've done a Badger before. And then I thought, wait a minute, what is this ABC all about? And the cartoon animals. So then I thought, maybe I should make them more cartoony rather than like sort of just animals. And I thought about the black and white stripes of the badger, and I thought, well, what about a football player? Because I think I saw a football thing. In fact, what it is I've been to Rome this week. I've been on vacation. And we were going past a shop there, and they had football stuff for sale. And they had Juventus T-shirts. And I thought, oh, a badger could be a football player in a black and white T-shirt, or maybe even Newcastle United. And so that's what I thought. And I got home, and then I thought, oh, it must have been done before. You know, there must be hundreds of badgers in black and white stripy T-shirts and football shirts. But no. I kind of Googled cartoon badger. And no, there's kind of one thing turned up, which wasn't terribly cartoon, it's quite digital and things. But anyway, so... I thought that's what I could do. Cool. It's nice to have something that other people haven't sort of smothered the internet with already. So, and we're going to do that. And so they're quite chunky, aren't they? Badgers. And we got to get it this kind of thing. So we've got this line coming through here where he's standing on one leg. And he's going to have his knee raised and foot on a football. Soccer ball. Here in the UK we call it a football. We call soccer football. I mean, we call it soccer as well, but most of the time we call it football. And then we have sort of shorts. Oh, there must be more like that, I think. There we are. So we need this kind of balance line coming all the way through. So he's really resting most of his weight down here. So his hips are slightly twisted that way. And then we're going to want socks over the top, and then a shoe coming down there, and then here we'll want that the shorts just sticking out a little bit, and then that will come down to about there, and we'll just see kind of a little bit of the back of the knee in there because they don't have big long legs like humans. Actually, we'll take that up a little bit like that. And then a shoe, and then we're going to want the ball underneath. And I think the tricky bit is to get the ball and the shoes kind of on the same plane so that the ball isn't floating in midair. And then I'm just going to have a little hand going ta-da, like that, I think. Ooh, yeah, something like that. And he's going to be a jolly soccer playing badger. And we'll have a little thing there. And that Juventus have a sort of J thing there, so we'll have a B thing there. I'm going to put a stripe right to the edge like that. So see, maybe I'll get two in there like that, and two in there. Now I am going to get my Rotring. I want this one, and I'm going to start inking in. So, there we go. So yeah, so I was in Rome last week. So we booked our holiday 2 years ago. We were meant to go during the first lockdown, and we've been very lucky. The EasyJet, the airline, they've kind of carried over all the tickets and everything, so we booked again for last autumn, I think, And then we had another lockdown, so EasyJet again carried over the ticket, which was really good of them. And then they said that they couldn't do the dates that we wanted in the end, so we had to add an extra night onto the hotel. And the hotel, that was a whole other performance, because the hotel we were booked in originally, then they were going to close down to do refurbishments. So we had to get another hotel. So anyway, it all worked out really, really well. And we had a really lovely week in Rome. It's the most astonishing place. It's just wherever you go, there's Roman stuff, which I suppose shouldn't be a surprise, but in a way it is. And oh, hang on, yeah, we want this sort of nose. It'll be a bit like that. So I'm just going to ink that nose in now, actually, to see, because I think this white bit around the side looks a bit odd. So if I just, that looks a bit odd. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so absolutely exhausted. it's the kind of town that's small enough to walk around, and everything is kind of there, and you can walk around, but it's big enough to wear yourself out. We just kind of tried to fit in everything, really, that we sort of could. But I think you could spend a year there easily, just visiting museums. We went to the Vatican Museum, which is just ridiculous. I mean, the amount of stuff they have there, just at the highest quality. And it's a bit like IKEA as well, in that once you've started, you can't get out. You just got to keep going. So it's an endurance thing, and you keep going and you keep going, and well, it takes a little while to work out how to actually get started, and then finally you get going, and then you're sort of stuck in this endless sort of chain of one sort of gallery after another of these extraordinary things, until finally you get to the Sistine Chapel, and it's which is pretty amazing. Although it's, it would be lovely to be in there all on your own, but you're never going to get that. So there are hordes of people, and they're being pushed in, and move along, move along, move along. And so that's the joy of being a tourist, isn't it? But it's funny, I'd heard various people sort of say, "Oh, it's it's terrible, and they treat you really badly in the Sistine Chapel." But I thought they were quite reasonable, considering there's a lot of people. They have to get a lot of people through there, and this wasn't high season, so I imagine in the summer, it must be a nightmare. And I found all the staff to be really friendly. One or two I found very funny, all with excellent English. When we went to the Colosseum, we had 2 or 3 people just come up to us, guides, not guides, but sort of people who work there, just coming up and saying, "Are you all right? Can we help?" And it was just really helpful. And so, we were treated very well, I felt, as tourists, not kind of... I'd also heard, but somebody I know had said about restaurants and things like that, "Oh, well, they just want you in and out, and they know you're never coming back, so they don't treat you well and everything." But I didn't find that at all. We had a lovely time, and felt all the restaurant staff are all helpful and friendly and busy. I think if you've got hundreds of tourists coming in desperately wanting lunch at sort of 1 o'clock, and because they've all got to get to the Colosseum at 2:30, and everybody's got a job to do, so they're busy serving, and had a good time. One problem in Italy. So the one thing everyone says, "Oh, Italy, the lovely coffee." Well, I didn't have one good cup of coffee the whole time I was in Italy. I'm sorry, but I didn't. And I think what it is I think the Italians, they love their espresso. and then you come up to the counter in the espresso bar, whoosh, knock it back in one gulp, and a glass of water to wash down the bitter taste, and off they go. And I think for Italians, coffee is like medicine. It's a pick me up, and it's, you know, it's like a whoosh. It's a hit. And whereas I think certainly I think of coffee as something to be savoured and flavoured, and that didn't seem to work in Italy somehow. And in fact, our hotel, the coffee at breakfast was pretty disgusting, and all that came from a machine that looked like it was grinding the coffee at the top. It wasn't. It was plastic coffee beans at the top, made to look like it was doing it, and it was instant, and it was not the best coffee in the world. But anyway, that's just first world problems, isn't it? We had a fantastic time. The gelato was fantastic. That's the ice cream. And the food, the food was fabulous. All the pizzas and the pastas, and we had we had a lot of kind of Roman delicacies. So there was the time for the artichokes, sort of deep fried artichokes and things like that. So they were really, really good. Just putting these little bits of shading in here. And the weather was good. We just had one kind of slightly damp day, but that was okay. And so we went to the Vatican, and we went to the Borghese Museum, which is, again, it just has ridiculous, you know, Raphaels and Bernini's and, you know, whatever. It's just this sort of ridiculous amount of excellence, and you just can't take it all in one go. And that's in this beautiful park as well, the Borghese Park. And I think my favourite thing, was the Pantheon, which is just the most astonishing building. Is the largest unsupported concrete dome in the world still, and the Romans built this 2,000 years ago. It's extraordinary. When you are sure the ink is dry, then you can erase all those pencil marks so that we can be ready to paint. First day we went to the Trevi Fountain, which was a Monday, and it was empty with people crawling around inside with hose pipes and things. But we found out that that's the day they clean it and take all the money out. So people throw money into Trevi Fountain, and if you do, then you'll return, apparently. Something like that. If you know me well, I'm going to start with a little bit of Naples yellow, just to give a little bit of warmth around the edges. So it's not just, I know it should be kind of pretty pure white, but that's just a little tinge of kind of warmth like that. And that's all I need there, I think, because the rest of it's going to be grey, really. So I'm going to go straight to this, which is a neutral tint, and start painting in the neutral tint like that. And I can't decide whether to give him, I'm going to put, okay, I've made my mind up. So I'm just going to, these are going to be kind of digging claws, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white in there for shininess, like that, and there. I think another kind of, another one of the favourites was the foreigners cemetery, which is right by this enormous pyramid, which was a sort of Roman, I think it was about 100 BC, something like that, this pyramid, which was a sarcophagus, basically, of a Roman emperor, I can't remember who, or a general or something. And but by it is this very beautiful, peaceful garden with cats, and it has, it's a cemetery for foreigners who've died in Rome. and aren't taken back to their home country. So, and in there, then there are sort of famous people, a bit like Père Lachaise in Paris. And so they have Keats and Shelley, the English poets, and it's kind of very Victorian and very effusive and flowery language on all the gravestones. So, and everybody seems to have been marvellous, and sort of lots of young men who seem to have sort of come over from doing the Americans and Brits and doing the grand tour. So they're obviously sort of rich young men, probably sort of second sons or something like that, who've got nothing else to do, and they're kind of, what a wonderful chap he was, died of 22. Doesn't quite tell you why. So they obviously came and caught cholera or something like that. But they're all poets and artists, and would have been the greatest artists in the world and whatever. So, but whereas they were probably second sons who dabbled at it, really. And and everybody used to write poetry in those days. I'm being cynical. Right, I'm going to get a little bit of blue in here. I'm going to get some French Ultra. So this is going to be sort of the shadow on the jersey, football jumper, jersey shirt. What would you call it? Football shirt. And so we'll just kind of like that. That's probably all we need. And then we'll have white shorts underneath here as well, which will need some shading too, like that. So just that's a basic shading. And I think I'll do a bit on the ball here as well. Like that. Maybe, that's too blue. Like that. And we're going to need some darker around the eyes, these big patches. Take my time here because I'm going to splodge that too much. And what else can I do? And then we had good fun. We went with some friends of ours who we go off. We have been going off on these European city breaks, and so we all have our kind of knowledge, I suppose, of different things. But anyway, we got to the St. Peter's Square outside the St. Peter's in the Vatican, the great big basilica there, and it's an ellipse, as is the Colosseum, which I hadn't realised before. And in fact, you could really feel it. I did a bit of film. I filmed from the bus as we went round the Colosseum, and you can see how, as you're going round the Colosseum, it kind of, the width of the Colosseum expands and contracts as you're going around it, because it kind of looks like a circle everywhere you look at it, but in fact it's an ellipse. And they had in the St. Peter's Square, they have all the columns. Yeah, I have to describe this. So there's like an ellipse like that, and then they have a sort of row of columns, a colonnade, in fact, because it's covered on the roof. And so an ellipse has two focal points, and they have these points actually circles in the ground. So this is where all the faithful come, and then you've got the steps coming up into the basilica there. And if you stand there, the columns, or rather, they're kind of placed absolutely like that. So maybe I'll have to do a video. I took a video about it, and I'll do another video. So that you kind of, as you stand right in the middle, they are all completely, perfectly lined up. So that was quite fun. I think I'm going to make the ears a little bit darker so they kind of stand up a bit, like that. And I think that's going to be the back of the paw rather than the hand, isn't it? And we're going to want something like that, and then we're going to want some shading underneath there, and underneath there, and probably underneath there like that. And so this is an Aquash water brush. I want them to explain because there are always new people watching these videos. And the water is in the handle, and it kind of flows down into the brush. And so you can, I sort of dib dab to clean it, and if you give it a bit of a squeeze, you can see water drips out, and so you can kind of control it, but it takes a bit of practice. Well, like everything, doesn't it? And so let's do that there. A bit of shade underneath there too. And I think maybe a bit more shade under there. So we're going to need to put sort of shade and tone probably, isn't it, for the socks. And I think what colour these shoes. Oh yeah, well, I'm going to make them. It's all about black and white, isn't it? So let's do that. And so we'll make these shoes black and white. Oh, in the shoe shop, in the sports shop rather, it was the Roma football shop, and they had football boots in the window, and they were obviously these new high-tech football boots, and all across the front here they had these little sort of rubbery plastic spikes, which I thought was very interesting. So it obviously helps to get a better grip and a spin and things like that. Now I'm adding sort of tone and shade like that. A bit more on this side too, which sort of creates contour for the whole thing like that. And I think these should probably be, the tips should be dark as well, shouldn't they? So a lot of this I'm making up as I'm going along, the colours and stuff. So I've sort of rehearsed the drawing a little bit, but not the colour. So let's do these bits here, the panels as well. And I'm thinking, in fact, we could maybe have the soles just slightly kind of red, just adding a tiny hint of interest to it. And again, so you end up with these grotty little bits of kitchen towel. I'm just going to put a little bit of that into his hand there, maybe a tiny bit of oh, actually I think I'm going to just put a little bit of smiliness in there, a little bit of cheekiness, and then we're going to want that in the lips as well, bottom lip. We're going to want a bit of blue in the eyes there, like that. Well, so they probably ought to be brown actually, but anyway, let's again, I'm making it up as I go along. And we'll put a little bit of sort of cheesiness in the smile. And then I think, yeah, we'll have a little bit of kind of something going on like that. And then we need to paints are falling apart. And again, if you're wondering, then these are Winsor & Newton watercolours, half-pan watercolours, and the box I've had since my first day at art college for a long time, so they don't make them quite like this anymore. I think they were probably still making them like they were in Victorian days when I got mine. So, and they're a lot. Well, I mean, they're kind of plastic now, aren't they? A lot of them, and so I didn't think there were plastic boxes when right. So now I'm going to get start on these stripes. So you really want to get all the shading and everything done in first. I'm gonna make those dark, I think. You need to get the shading all done before you put in the final stripes, because otherwise you'll be kind of washing them out. And as you put shading over the top of these sort of darker colours, you start kind of fading them and washing them, and they kind of wouldn't look so crisp. So we'll just keep working, and I'm going to. What happened there? Oh, yeah. Well, that's a bit of a mistake, isn't it? I'm going to have to fix that on Photoshop. And so I'll be scanning this and turning it into a mug and a t-shirt. And so you'll find the links down below. And eventually, maybe when I've finished, I don't know, maybe I'll put together kind of a souvenir book if everybody's got right to the end of the series and watched them all and sort of enjoyed them and made suggestions. Don't forget, you can, in the comments box below, you can make suggestions for my animal ABC. So, obviously the next one's going to be C, and I haven't decided yet. So what will C be? Maybe your choice will be the one I choose to. Maybe there'll be one that comes out that everybody kind of really likes. Everybody wants a popular choice. That's what we're after. And it doesn't have to be like a, so it can be a cartoon character like this, so that this is really a human in a badger outfit, isn't it? That we'll put a little black stripe down there. I'm trying to think. The only Newcastle player I know is Alan Shearer. I can't think of a badger joke to fit in with. Alan Shearer, like Badger Shearer? No, it doesn't work. And I don't know any Juventus players at all, so I'm not a huge sports fan. And I think we're going to need just a little bit underneath here as well. I think just to bring that out. Yeah, that'll do, I think. And then, what's happening underneath there? Something's not. So I'm going to do that, and then that will come down to there. I think that's what's confused me down here. So I'm going to do that, and then bring that across. That's better. So I'll have to fix that on Photoshop for the mug and the t-shirt, and then finally, I think we just need some grass on the ground, and I think we're there. So I'm going to keep this clean. When you come to, I'm going to want some yellow here, and if you don't clean your brush, it gets dirty very quickly. And so let's do. We are the Badgers, the Badgers. It's going to be the Badger team song, hasn't there? Not a lot rhymes with badger. Smadger, dadger, ladger. We are the Badgers and we are the best. We're thinking on our chest. No. If you can come up with a Badger song, that would be interesting. I don't know quite how we might use that, but that would be quite funny. We are the Badgers. There you go. How to draw a footballing badger. Thanks for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel and keep coming back for lots more drawing videos every week. In the meantime, keep drawing. Practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.